Prabhu yassa padita kitaya Sri Guru Natosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namo Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadibhyatstavi Sundaraya Tasmai Maha Prema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Veda Aparada Lakshe Shiksa Kamari Karangamani Kripa Marikam Sharanam Radam Brinde Namaste Charanarindam Brinde Namaste Charanarindam Govinda Namo Sundar Shikhandi Smaraha Suri Manora Radhikarasika Mama Kripanide Sopriya Chana Kinkarim Kuru Kanaka Jalada Gatra Nila Sonabja Nitro Mragamadavara Balo Malati Kundama Tarla Taruna Vesho Nila Pitambaresho Smarani Britani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandra Smarani Britani Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandra Tavaivasmi Najivami Tayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Nama Saranantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, Asmadeva Paramaradhita Maguru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Ashtotara Satasisimad, Rupanuga Charevaya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Guru's Guru and my Paramesti Guru, Pratpara Guru, Parampratpara Gurudev and all my Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vanchakalpatarus. So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he has developed by the association of Srila Haridas Thakur in his childhood, his Diksha Guru Yadunandan Acharya, the association of Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Vedada Pandit, and Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. By their association, he has developed a very strong greed to attain the service of the divine couple, Sri Radha Krishna. When you deeply desire something, but you don't have it, then the Dainya Bhav is raised in the heart. Dainya means dinata, a feeling of utter worthlessness, utter wretchedness, and complete, the feeling completely disqualified. So in that mood of great humility, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is giving instructions to his own mind. So this morning we discussed the first line of Manah-siksa. Guru goste gostalai su sujane bu suragane. Now the next line. Somantre Sri Namni Brajanava Yuva Dvandva Shane Sada Dambam Hitva Kururatim Apurvam Atitaram Maya Swante Bratastatubi Rabiyache Ditpada. Oh my dear brother, my mind, I am falling at your feet and holding your feet, washing your feet with my tears, and with humble words and flattering words, with many compliments. I am begging you, please follow my request. If you don't follow my request, I will not be happy and you will also not be happy. But if you follow my request, we will both be happy. So let's make a deal to be friends and be happy and successful. His mind said, what do you want? He said, please give up all duplicity and pride and develop unprecedented deep attachment for your Gurudev, for the holy Dham of Braja, for the Brajabasis, for the Vaishnavas of other Sampradayas, for the Brahmins who live in the Dham. This much we have discussed. Now we come to the next line. Samantre Sri Namni. Have unprecedented attachment to the diksha mantras given by your Gurudev. What is diksha? Divyam jnanam yato datyat kuryat papasa sankshaya tasmat diksheti sa prokta deshikais tadvatako vidai. The definition has been given by Srila Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha. Diksha is a process. It is generally, it's not impossible, it can happen in a moment, but generally it's a process which is extended over some years. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he received Diksha, oh, it was a very short time before he realized Krishna. But generally, in this Kali Yuga, the living entities whose Sukriti and Sanskar is not so thick, Diksha will be a process extended over some time. But that process is what? Diksha. The process by which di, something is diyate, given, and ksha, something is, the shayate means it is diminished down to zero. So what is given? Diyate, what is given? Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means Divya Gyanam Hyatra Srimati Mantre Bhagavat Sarup Gyanatena Bhagavat Sambandha Vishesh Gyanam Cha. This is the definition. It means knowledge which is imparted through the medium of a mantra which reveals the Swarup of the form of your Ishtadev. All living entities have a relation with God, but God has so many forms and aspects. With which form are you related? With Narayan? With Narsingadev? With Ramachandra? With Krishna? If it's Krishna, you mean Dwarkadish Krishna, Mathuresh Krishna, or Brajendananda and Krishna? And if you are related with Brajendananda and Krishna, what type of relationship do you have? So one aspect of Divya Gyan is the realization of the Swarup of your Ishtadev, and the other part is Bhagavat Sambandha Vishesh Gyan, knowledge of your individual, unique special relationship with Krishna. These two types of knowledge are awakened in the heart by the Vastu Prabha. That means by the radiance emanating from the Gopal mantra, the Diksha mantra. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received Diksha, he did not receive so many mantras. He received one mantra, Gopal mantra. That Gopal mantra has 18 syllables. Mahaprabhu did not even receive the whole mantra. His Gurudev only gave him the last 10 syllables. Mahaprabhu's Diksha mantra was only Gopi, etc. like this. Only these syllables he would repeat. And it awakened the realization of his Ishtadev. And what type of relation, in which rasa? In Dasya Sakya Vatsari O Madhurya Bhuyim, of course it was in Madhurya rasa. So, Diksha is the process by which this is given, these two types of knowledge. And something is taken away, Kuryat Paspasya Sangshaya, that your tendency to be involved in pap, sinful activities, diminishes slowly down to nothing. In other words, Krishna mantra hoite habe samsara mocha. By Krishna mantra you become liberated from sanskar, this world. Because it is only our indifference to Krishna which causes ourselves to be covered by Maya. And therefore all the kut, the tendencies to be involved in desires and sinful activities come about. So when Dibya Gyan arises, the realization of your relationship with Krishna, then your vimukata, indifference to Krishna, is removed, and thereby, as a side effect, the tendency to be involved in worldly activities is diminished down to nothing. So Divya Gyan is the light by which the darkness of Maya is dispelled. If you're in the dark room, you cannot put all the dark in a bucket and throw it outside. You have to introduce a light and the darkness will be dispelled. So by the light of Divya Gyan Hridi Prakoshita, the heart becomes illuminated by Divya Gyan. Avidya vinashayate, and avidya is destroyed. This process is called diksha. And the devotee becomes established in sambandha gyan, understanding Maya Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, not understanding. Actually the tattvas are awakened, really realizing all these things. Now is established in sambandha gyan. So, this is Diksha. What is Diksha mantra? It is simply the names of God. Harinam. Prefixed by a bij, a seed, like Om, Kling, Shring, Aing, some bij is there, and suffixed by a word indicating prapatti, surrender. So you will have a bij like Om, and then the name of God, and then a word indicating surrender like Namaha or Swaha. This is the structure of a mantra. So Srila Rupa Goswami in Padyavali, he said, no diksham na chasat kriyam na puraschariyam managikshate. The holy name is not dependent on diksha. The holy name is not dependent on diksha. The holy name, as soon as you begin to chant, at once it acts. The holy name is completely pure. The only thing that separates us from realizing the almighty nature of Nam, to give Prem, is our offenses. Because we commit offense to Nam Prabhu, so Nam Prabhu withholds his power from us until we will change our mentality and disposition to become favorable to him. Then he will reveal everything. So Nam does not depend on Diksha. However, because especially in Kali Yuga, the living entities are covered by so many offenses, without taking shelter of a bona fide Guru and undergoing the process of Diksha, one will not be able to understand how to come out from the entanglement in apparats. And this is why, though Naam is not dependent on diksha, in 99.999999999 recurring cases, the living entities will not be able to chant Shuddha Naam without undergoing the process of diksha. Yes, Prabhu.
What about Shiksha? Shiksha not enough? This is also taking shelter of a bona fide guru.
Diksha and Shiksha, they are functions. They are functions. So if a person, they don't have a diksha from someone, or they have diksha from someone but that relationship is broken or whatever, and they're taking Shiksha from someone else, but until that living entity is established in Sambandha Gyan, then though he's taking instruction, that Shiksha Guru is actually doing the function of Diksha Guru and establishing him in his Sambandha Gyan. Now, usually without the Diksha mantra, for the general souls, in general, they will not become established very quickly in Sambandha Gyan without the Diksha mantra, especially Gopal mantra. You see, Jiva Goswami has explained the relationship between the holy name and the Diksha mantras in Bhakti Sandarbha. He said that, yes, the holy name is all powerful, but by the will of Krishna and by the will of the rishis of ancient times, when the name is combined with a bij and a word indicating prapati to make a Diksha mantra, it becomes empowered with a Vishesh Prabhav, a special influence that quickly awakens the living entity's Sambandha, relationship with Krishna. And when that relationship has been awakened, they can easily chant the holy name without committing offense. You see? And so, Diksha is a process by which we can quickly go beyond Nam Aparad, and even beyond Nam Abhas, to the chanting of Shuddha Nam. So Nam is independent, but it may take you a very long time to come to the level of chanting Shuddha Nam, but with the help of this process which has been devised by the sages, which is infused by their desire and their will and the will of Krishna, the living entity quickly becomes established in Sambandha Gyan, and the opportunity to chant Shuddha Nam arises. So, this is a very interesting thing. If the holy name is not dependent on Diksha, and the Diksha mantra itself is simply the name, but with a bij and a word indicating prapati, and on top of that, the name which is in the Diksha mantra has been infused by the will of Krishna and the sages with a special power to awaken our Sambandha Gyan, then why should Diksha mantra be dependent on Diksha? If Naam is not dependent on Diksha, and the Naam in the Diksha mantra has more power to awaken Sambandha Gyan, then even the Diksha mantra should be independent, not dependent on any Diksha even. Just chant the Diksha mantra. So it's true, even Diksha mantra is not dependent on Diksha. Jiva Goswami has said. Astonishing thing. However, the living entities are weak. They have anarthas. And unless they will associate very closely with the powerful sadhu, and please Krishna by Guru Seva, Vaishnav Seva, they will not be able to overcome their weaknesses. So, the spiritual master engages the disciple first in Vaidhi Bhakti, following particular rules and regulations. If the senses and mind of the living entity is spontaneously attracted to Krishna, then Krishna is pleased by all of that person's activities, because it's spontaneously to please him. But as long as one is conditioned, and the senses are wayward and restless and tend to go away from Krishna, at that time they need to be they need to have some shape or direction for their activities, which is favorable for their gradual advancement. So that is the meaning of vidhi. Vidhi means that by which the activities of the senses are curtailed and then directed in a way which is favorable for the development of spontaneous devotion. And so the process of diksha actually belongs to Vaidhi Bhakti. Guru Padashraya Diksha Guru, it is the second anga of the 64 angas of Vaidhi Bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti has been explained by Narad Rishi in his Narad Pancharatra. Pancharatra means 5 nights, because Narad Rishi went to Badrik Ashram and he was instructed by Naranarayan Rishi, Supreme Lord himself, in the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, and he wrote those instructions down. So that's called Narad Pancharatra, and all our understanding of regulative devotional service is derived from the Narad Pancharatra. So Diksha is part of that. In Raganuga Bhakti, all the angas of Vaidhi Bhakti are also observed, with a few exceptions. The Anganyas is given up, installing deities in different parts of the body. The use of mudras in Archan. Also we don't do. And also, actually in the Vaidhi Bhakti, worship of Radha and Krishna, so many associates in Avaran. That means in circles around the divine couple, the first Avaran, the second Avaran, the third Avaran. Like this is a very elaborate Vaidhi Bhakti. In that Avaran, Rukmini and Satyabhama are also present. So Dwarka Dhyan, the meditation on the Dwarka Mahishis, is also, though it is a part of the Vaidhi aspect of Puja to Radha Krishna, that's given up in Ragamarg, because it's unfavorable for the cultivation of Bhavmayi sadhana. So we follow Vaidhi Bhakti. So in Ragamarg we also follow the process of Diksha. And so here Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, oh my dear mind, develop intense love for your Diksha mantra, for your Gopal mantra. In this stage, Raghunath Das Goswami already has greed. And so his mantra is already beginning to reveal to him. So he's praying to his mind, have more love for mantra, and then more clearly. This process of bhakti, that is abhideya tattva. So what is the mantra to the abhideya tattva adhishtatri devata? And the mantra? Divyad Brindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratna Garasingha Sanasto Shri Sri Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prashavidhi Sevyamanoswami. I continually engage in the remembrance of Radha Govinda Dev, seated upon a very beautiful jeweled Singhasan beneath a Kadamba tree on the bank of Jamuna, as they are being served by their very dear and intimate Sakhis. So when your Gopal mantra will open up, then you will see this scene. That is the Vrindavan Yoga Pit, the Mantrupasana Mai Leela Pit of Radha and Krishna. And among those Sakhis who are serving Radha Krishna, one of them will be your Gurudev, and she will catch you by the hand and give you a service to perform. That is Yoga Pit Seva. So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, I have a great, intense, unprecedented attachment to your Diksha mantra, because this opportunity of seva will begin to open. And when it becomes mature, it will turn into Swarasiki Lila. That is, Radha and Krishna will get up from their place and they will go here and there, and one can serve in the 8 portions of the day. That is Astakali Lila Seva. Like this. So many persons, they try to artificially remember Astakali Lila Seva, but it is impossible. They will try, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, 5 years. Usually not longer than that, and then they give up. Because if you do sadhana in an incorrect or in not properly adjusted way, then you'll meet with so many internal obstacles that you'll become discouraged and eventually give up. So we should try to follow what Raghunatha Swami has written in Manah-siksa. He's telling us exactly how to attain perfection. So first, one must realize the mantra upasnamaya lilapit, yogapit seva, and when that is, Jiva Goswami says, paryanta, when that comes to its fullest maturity, it will turn into the swarasiki upasana, the service in the 8 portions of the day. So don't try to go to the higher meditation before realizing the preliminary one, because that will not be a sadhana to even realize the preliminary one, what to speak of realize the higher one. So, Srila Raghunatha Swami is saying, Swamantra, have intense attachment for your diksha mantras. Shri Namni, to the holy name, the chanting of the holy name. Krishna mantra hoiti habe sangsara mochan, Krishna nama hoiti pabe Shri Krishna charan. At the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's diksha, his Haribo.
Surprise.
Это Вау! Вот это да!
I said I will come.
I didn't believe it. Even now I cannot believe it.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I was able to come. Thank you very much. I brought
Oh,
my friend also.
Hare Krishna.
So
So who some can take care of?
So we just had a sleep and
Prabhu,
Yes.
going back a little bit before,
I want to answer Ricky's question a little bit more. Yes, Prabhu.
or just back a little precision. You said about the Narada Pancharatra, so Narad went to Badarik Ashram and learned for 5 nights from yesterday.
No, Narayan Rishi.
Narayan.
Badrinath means the Narayan of Narayan.
Yes.
And because Vyasadeva wrote the Bhagavatam there, therefore in the beginning of Bhagavatam we say that Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim sarasyatim vyasam tato jayamudire. Srila Prabhupada used to say this before every Bhagavatam class. Why? Because the Narayan Rishi is the Adistatri Devata of the place where the Bhagavatam was manifested. So he's giving special pranam to him first before speaking Bhagavatam. Because this is actually to give respect to the ancient Vedic tradition that before you speak a mantra, you have to say the name of the deity of the mantra, the name of the rishi who realized the mantra, the vinayog, the purpose of the mantra, and so on. Deva, Rishi, and Chanda, and the Chanda, the meter of the mantra as well, and the Shakti of the mantra. Who is the Shakti that reveals the mantra? All these things are spoken. You know, you've perhaps seen us do a fire sacrifice. So before any mantra and oblation is given, Om Prajapati Vishnu Ishi Gayatri Chanda Shu Vishnu Devata Upanayane Viniyoga. You have to say the Viniyog, the Deva, the Rishi, the Chanda, the Shakti, everything. And then you say the mantra and then you make the oblation. You see? So in order to connect the speaking of Srimad Bhagavatam with the ancient Vedic system of knowledge, before speaking, Sutta Goswami is saying Narayanam Namaskritya. He's giving his pranam to the predominating deity of the Dham where the Bhagavatam was manifest. Naram Chaiva Narotamam. And to the deity of this mantra, that means the deity of Srimad Bhagavatam, that's Krishna himself. Narotamam means Krishna. Narotam means Purushottam. the supreme, most beautiful personality. There's only one Purush in Vrindavan. Devim Sarasvyatim, and this Bhagavatam will be revealed by Bhakti Devi in the form of Shuddha Saraswati, the goddess of devotion. Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam, and the Rishi of this mantra is Vyas, who saw it. Tato Jayam, after giving Jai to all of them, Udirayet, now we'll utter the mantra, and that is the rest of Srimad Bhagavatam. You see? So this is, it's showing here how Sutta Goswami is not speaking independent or with any disrespect of the ancient tradition and the ancient rishis. Any Vaishnava always sees himself as merely a product of the mercy of his forebears, his spiritual ancestors. Like that. So the Narad Pancharatra was spoken by Narayan Rishi. So, where is Ricky here?
He's attending this to
Helping. They're already back. Okay, I'll answer Ricky's question later when he comes. So, now, Somantre Sri Namni, develop love for Nam, because by the Gopal mantra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Guru Ishwarapuri told him, Krishna mantra hoite habe samsara mochan, you be liberated from this world. And Krishna Nam hoite pabe Shri Krishna charan. But by chanting Nam, you will directly attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So the relationship between Diksha mantra and Hare Krishna Mahamantra, my Gurudev used to say, it's like the relationship between rice and a pot. If you have some uncooked rice and a pot, what is more important, the rice or the pot? The rice is the most important, because you cannot eat the pot. So the rice is most. However, the rice is uncooked, and you cannot eat the raw rice either. So if you put the raw rice in the pot and cook it, then the rice will become very soft, flavorful, nutritious, nourishing, and delicious. So in the same way, the conditioned souls who are covered by anartha, unwanted desires and offenses, though they have the name, they cannot taste it. So Guru gives the pot. This is the Diksha mantra. And by this, one comes to such a stage that you can chant and taste the name. Understand? So which is more important? Harinam is more important than Diksha. But without Diksha, you will not be able to relish and taste the Nam. This is the relationship. So Swamantre Sri Namni, then Braja Yuva Dvandva Sharane. My dear mind, have unprecedented attachment for the shelter of Radha and Krishna.
So that means that you should actually say your Diksha mantra before you even start Harinam.
Diksha mantras are remembered 3 times a day. In the morning, after Mangalartik, or before Mangalartik as you like, but it should be in the Brahma Muhurta. Thank you.
Oh, it should not be at sunrise.
At noon. At noon.
Brahma Muhurta means like 2 muhurtas before sunrise, right?
Yes. Brahma Muhurta is the best time for doing bhajan. You can do at sunrise, but the best time for all meditation is the Brahma Muhurta. 1 hour 36 minutes before sunrise until 48 minutes before sunrise. But you can see when you are traveling the world, you just make it a particular time. You do Mangalartik, do Gayatri, and then chant Harinam, like this.
Is the power of the mantra dependent on the...
We were just in Russia and the sun was rising at like 3 in the morning and then setting at 11 at night. So you can't always, so you have your daily schedule. So 3 times a day, in the early morning, in noon, and when the sun is going down. 3 sandhya. It is remembered at these times.
Yeah, but before the chanting of the Harinam, yeah?
You can chant any time. Harinam is nam namakari bahudani jasav shaktis tatrapita niyamatas manena kala. Means there's no rule for time for chanting Hare Krishna. You chant any time. Any time, day or night, it is good. So, here, Srila Raghunatha Goswami is saying, my dear mind, take complete shelter of Yuva Dvandva, the divine couple. Now, each verse of Manah-siksa answers some questions, but raises something new. So the question this first verse raises is, if I am to take complete shelter of Radha and Krishna, then what about the worship of Guru and Gauranga? I am supposed to worship Guru, I am supposed to worship Gauranga, but he has just said to his mind, the exclusive shelter of the divine couple. So how can one be one-pointed to Radha and Krishna, but at the same time not neglect the Guru and not neglect Gauranga? This question is raised by the first verse and answered in the second verse. So in the second verse of Manah-siksa, Srila Raghunatha Dasa Swami is giving the answer. Na dharmam na dharmam shutigana niruktam kilakaru Prajai Radha Krishna prachura paricharjam hiyatanu sachisunum nandishwarapati sutatvai gurubaram mukunda prastatvai smaraparamajasram nanumana. He's saying, oh my dear mind, don't become obsessed with the details of what is dharma and adharma. Because the ethics and morality, which is relative and related to this world, has been discussed in the Vedas. What to do and what not to do. This is a relative morality of this world. But those who are entering into spontaneous love for Krishna, it is not necessary for them to pay attention to this dharma and adharma. What is dharma and adharma? It is only for those souls who are not interested, they are not inclined towards the exclusive service to God. If they'll act in an undisciplined way, they'll go down. And so dharma is there to lift them up, to stop them from going down into the suffering condition. And whatever desires, worldly desires they have, by following dharma, artha will come, economic development. And with that you can fulfill your desires, and then when you realize that's actually nothing is satisfying, then you may want moksha, liberation. So these are the four purusharthas, or four goals of life, which have been defined in the Vedas. So he's saying, my dear mind, now your spontaneous attraction to Radha and Krishna is there. Don't become obsessed with any details of dharma and adharma. Meaning that the ordinary persons in Vedic society, they are raised with a very strong conviction that I must not neglect my duty. And here he's saying, no, actually the supreme duty of the soul is only to serve God. So once you're focused on that, then you have not neglected any duties at all. There, you have no worldly responsibilities. You have no relative responsibilities if you are dedicated to the service of Krishna. This is the first. Na dharmam na dharmam shutigana niruktam. What should you do? Brajai Radha Krishna prachurya paricharya hiyatanu. Engage in paricharya seva, the direct menial bodily services of the divine couple. Internally. So those who have come in the stage of ruchi, they realize the form of Krishna, then his qualities, then the qualities of his associates, and then by being absorbed in a particular associate of Krishna, then the capability to conceive of oneself as being just like them awakens in the heart, and that is called seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi. Manasik seva, serving in the heart. It is not an imagination, but is a capability that naturally arises through a constant meditation on the qualities of Krishna's associates. But that will not awaken without ruchi. Srila Jiva Goswami clearly has explained in Bhakti Sandarbha, Tasmin nana vikshepavati rucha bhavena ragatmik bhakti shailim anabijanati. In the absence of ruchi, it is impossible to conceive of the methods of service of the Krishna's eternal associates. So it's not imagination. When that stage comes, you will not have questions how to do it. You'll know what to do. My Gurudev said there was a cow. She never was pregnant before, but she became pregnant. And then that cow gave birth to a
Und dann hat
calf.
sie nachher eine Kalbe
She
geboren.
never gave birth to a
Sie
calf.
hat nie eine Kalbe
But as soon
geboren.
as the calf was born,
Aber kaum
then
wurde
she
das
knew
Kalb geboren,
how to
wusste
make the
sie,
calf stand up,
wie man
how
das
to lick the
Kalb
calf
aufstellen
clean,
muss,
and how to
wie man
tuck the
es
calf
ableckt
under her body to drink the
und
milk.
es unter ihren
Uh,
Körper
In other
das
words,
Milch trinkt.
the cow never knew how to take care of a calf.
Noch nie
But when the
gemacht,
stage came in her life
aber
when
wo
she
es
had a calf,
gekommen
then
ist,
she
das
knew how
Kalb,
to do it.
wusste sie plötzlich alles.
So Raganuga Bhakti is like
Der
that.
Bhakti ist genauso.
Hmm? If you're thinking, I don't know how to do it, means you're not in that stage.
Dann bist du nicht auf dieser Stufe.
And when internally it's awakening, then you'll know
Und wenn
how to do
innerlich
it.
alles aufwacht,
So,
dann
uh,
ist es erfahren.
therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sagt,
Nama Sankirtana Hoite Sangsara Mochan Shuddha Chitti Sarva Bhakti Sadhana Udgam. A very beautiful verse. Nama Sankirtana Papa Sangsara Mochan. By chanting the holy names,
und durch das mit den
one
Heiligen
becomes
Namen
relieved of the reactions of sinful activities.
befreit von allen Fehlern
And
der
Shuddha
Vergangenheit.
Chitte, when your heart is purified somewhat, in that pure heart, Sarva Bhakti Sadhana Udgam, the actual practice of sadhana, Raganuga sadhana, it awakens. It's awakened by the power of a holy name when the heart is sufficiently cleansed. Huh? Understand? So, my Vrindavan Vilasini asked an interesting question. He said, what's the difference between eagerness and impatience? We want to enter into Ragamarg, but are we eager or are we impatient? So Mahaprabhu said, this internal service is called Sevamrita, the nectar of service. So Amrita is not easily available. All the demons and demigods together, they had to churn. And 4 incarnations of the Supreme Lord were involved before nectar came. So Amrita, when the word Amrita is used, then we should know that it indicates that there's an involved process. And one must apply himself. Just like if you want to make butter, you take the yogurt and you have to churn the yogurt. And it's hard work. And if you've been churning for 5 minutes, you're sweating, and then you look inside the yogurt and oh, there's no butter. Then you say, I don't believe in butter. So then, if you say, forget it, I'm going to go to the shop and buy some margarine. This is called impatience. So those who don't have actual eagerness, those who have eagerness, they'll keep churning and following the process until the butter comes out from the yogurt. That is eagerness. Eagerness means you apply yourself very meticulously to the process of bhakti with great persistence and determination until the Amrita appears. That is eagerness. But impatience means you try and at first the result doesn't come quickly. So you give up and you do something else to try to get a cheap version. That is called sajya. To imitate, imitationism. To make it sahaj, very easy. Nectar never comes easy. Nectar comes after churning hard work for a long time. Understand? Bhakti rasamrita, Nam amrita, Sevamrita, Prem amrita. This is another thing. Karnamrita, Lavanamrita, Tarunamrita. So this comes after some time. So here Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, Nadamam nadamam shutigana niruktam kilakuru Brajay Radha Krishna prachoya paricharyam hiyatanu. Oh my dear mind, engage in the services, menial services as a maid servant of Radha and Krishna. But what about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So in the next line he answers, Sachisunum Nandishwarapati Sutatve Guru Param. Why are you thinking that you have left out Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if you are serving Radha Krishna? Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahiyanya. Radha Krishna have appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if you are serving Radha and Krishna, why are you thinking that you have neglected Mahaprabhu? But still there's a speciality. Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Radha and Krishna. So surely we should honor him in that form. So Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, yes, Guru Baram. See Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Accept him in your life as your bhajan shiksha guru. Have you seen the deities of Gaur Gadada in the house of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Gautama? Mahaprabhu is standing like this. Shiksha mudra. Raising this is, like Srila Prabhupada on the front cover of the Bhakti Godhead magazine. It indicates Shiksha, I'm giving a teaching. What teaching? Mahaprabhu is your bhajan Shiksha guru. So you were mentioning something about Shiksha. First the devotee must be situated in Sambandha Gyan, his relation with Krishna. And then really the role of Shiksha Guru comes. The Diksha Guru, it's like 2 feet in the sky. The Diksha Guru takes your feet and plants them in the dust of Vrindavan. Now you have made your connection with the spiritual world. And then the Shiksha Guru teaches you how to walk. The Diksha Guru plants your feet there, makes your sambandha. And the Shiksha Guru teaches you how to walk in that realm.
Shiksha Guru
Yes.
helps you to
Yes. So first Diksha, that you should be connected with that place, established in your relationship. And then Shiksha comes in the form of bhajan Shiksha, how to walk in that divine realm. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accept him as your bhajan Shiksha Guru. Look at his life, how he lived, what he did, what verses he was chanting and remembering. Mahaprabhu, he accepted initiation. So follow him, be initiated by a qualified Diksha Guru. Mahaprabhu was more humble than a blade of grass, so follow him, be more humble than a blade of grass. Kirtaniya Sada, he chanted continuously. Still it was not enough. He went to South India and he searched out a Shiksha Guru, a bhajan in the form of Ramananda Rai. And he heard all the Lila Tattva and Rasa Tattva from him. And then he retired to the Gambhira. And he used to engage in the very beautiful Harikatha and Kirtans along with Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda. Very intimate associates. Like this. So accepting Mahaprabhu as your bhajan Shiksha Guru, follow what he did in his life. Krishna is very kind, he's personally come to lead us, to show the path into his own eternal pastimes. So, if we accept Mahaprabhu as our bhajan Shiksha Guru, how do you worship Guru? By following his teachings. And therefore, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Raghunath Das Goswami, Amane nama nadahoya sada Krishna nama labe Braji Radha Krishna Seva Manasa Kolibe. Give respect to everyone. Don't demand respect from others. Chant the holy name continuously and in your mind serve Radha and Krishna. So if you do Manasik Seva to Radha Krishna, you're following the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in this way, that is the best worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's your bhajan Shiksha Guru. Understand? How the question raised by the first verse is being answered by the second verse of Manasik. And what about your Guru? Yeah, your Guru in this world. So he's saying, Guru Baram, Mukunda Prestatve Smara Param Ajashram Nanamana. Oh my dear mind, constantly remember that your Guru Dev is Mukunda Presta, most dear and close intimate associate of Radha and Krishna. So if you will serve Radha Krishna in their Yogapit Lila, your Guru Dev will be there also. And she will engage you. And you will be serving the divine couple under the guidance of your Guru in his spiritual form. So in this way, the respect of Guru, the respect of Gauranga, and the service of Radha Krishna are all reconciled into one icantic path of bhajan. This is the teaching of the second verse of Manah-siksa. Now, I want to share some katha with you. Those on the bodily platform of life, in the duality of male and female, they cannot understand
Sie können nicht
the
verstehen.
love of Radha and
Die
Krishna.
Liebe von Radha und Krishna nicht verstehen.
Because when the mind is contaminated with the material concepts of male and female,
Unreinigt ist von
then
Mann
you
und
will
Frau,
project that onto Radha and Krishna
dann projiziert
and
das auf
misunderstand
Radha und Krishna.
the Niravadya Samyujam, the immaculate nature
Dann verstehst
of
du
their
die
relationship.
die Reinheit von ihrer Beziehung.
But you should know
Aber
that
du
your
sollst verstehen,
abhiman as being
dein Selbstgefühl,
material male or material female,
ob materiell Mann oder Frau sei,
this is nothing to do with your spiritual identity.
hat nichts mit
The
deiner
Upanishads say the soul is not male,
Die
not
Seele
female,
ist,
and not nuta.
ist nicht weiblich, nicht
But the body of the soul,
der
is an
Körper der
exact the consequence
Seele ist eine
of the
Konsequenz.
Sevabriti, their mood of service.
Der ewige spirituelle Körper ist eine Konsequenz von einer
So the bodies of gopis of Vrindavan, they're not material female or material male. They are made of Sevabriti, they're made of bhav. The spiritual body is made is of condensed emotion,
kondensierter Emotion.
and that is the service.
Und das ist Dienst.
It is Satchidananda.
Es ist
Sat means eternal, Chit means the pure transcendental consciousness, and Ananda means joy.
Ananda bedeutet Freude.
But there's a difference between Ananda and Sukh.
Sukha in dieser Welt.
Sukh means happiness,
Sukha ist ein Glück.
but in the etymology of the word Sukh,
Aber in der Etymologie
you can enjoy Sukh, happiness.
kannst du Glück genießen.
But Ananda indicates a happiness which has a Vishay and an Ashray. A Vishay and an Ashray, an object and a shelter.
Ein Zuflucht und ein Ziel. Ein
So,
Ziel.
in English we have one word,
Wir
happiness.
haben nur in Englisch nur ein Wort.
But
Deutsch,
the word
ein Glück.
Ananda
Aber Ananda
means
bedeutet,
that when an Ashray, the shelter
wenn eine Zuflucht
of love,
von Liebe,
gives happiness
die
to the Vishay, the object of love,
Ziel der Liebe Glück
the
schenkt,
joy that the shelter of that Sevabriti experiences when that person gives happiness to the Vishay is called Ananda.
again,
Did you catch that?
No.
You see, if you take some ice cream
wenn du
Right?
Eiscreme nimmst
and you eat it
und du isst
and you
es
enjoy it,
und du genießt
huh?
es,
This is like Sukh,
das ist
happiness,
Super.
right?
Das Glück.
because you are the Vishay, you are the
Du bist
enjoyer,
der Genießer davon.
and the Vishay, the enjoyer,
Der Wischer, der
is
Genießer,
feeling the happiness, the Sukh.
fühlt das
But
Glück.
that is not Ananda.
Aber das hat nichts mit Ananda
Ananda
zu tun.
means
Ananda bedeutet,
there is an Ashray,
da gibt's eine
the abode of
Zuflucht
love,
Liebende
and the abode of the service and the object of
und
service.
ein Objekt.
So the object of service means Krishna, he's the object of service. So when a person serves Krishna and pleases him, the joy that he feels when Krishna is pleased is called Ananda. You see? So the abode of Ananda is not the Vishay, is not the object. But the abode of Ananda is it's the joy that you feel when you give joy to the object of your service. Huh? So this place is called Ananda Dham. Here, anyone should not try to enjoy. Try to serve Krishna, and the joy that you will feel when Krishna is pleased, that is called Ananda. And that Ananda, the spiritual body is made of that Ananda. So in the spiritual world, no one knows what it means to be a Vishayi, an enjoyer. They only know what it means to serve. And therefore they are made of condensed Ananda. That is your Siddhadeha. So as long as the mind is contaminated by the impressions of Vishay Sukh, then you cannot conceive of what these associates are like. You don't have to be completely free from all anatta, but most should be. In Ruchi, most have gone. There's still some little contamination left. And as one's realization deepens, all that will also be washed away. So, your identity, your abhiman as being male or female, this is nothing to do with the identity of your soul. Do you know, in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, who has read the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Anyone? Yes, you have read? So please, someone tell the story of Sudyumna.
Sudyumna.
Yes.
Oh yes. He was
Bhagavad
he was somehow he was a man, and then he became a woman, and then he changed.
Very difficult situation.
Confused personality.
This is why I'm giving the example. That the material male and female abhiman is the covering of the soul, has nothing to do with the soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said in the first verse of chapter 4, Imam vivasvite yogam proktavam aham avyam vivasvan manave praha manorikshabhakave pravit. So, is describing here Vivasvan, the sun god. Actually, Vivasvan is the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. Aditi is the daughter of Daksha. So the daughter of Daksha, Aditi, married Kashyapa, and they had a son. It was Vivasvan. He is the sun god and the head of the sun dynasty of warrior Kshatriyas, the royal family. So Vivasvan, here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said he had a son. Vivasvan has 2 wives, Chaya and Sangya. They are also in the characters of Rupa Goswami's Lalit Madhav, Chaya and Sangya. Because Radharani goes to the sun planet in Lalit Madhav. We'll speak about that later in the week. So Sangya and so the son of Vivasvan and Sangya is Manu. So Krishna is saying Vivasvan Manave Praha. The son of Vivasvan, to whom he taught the science of Bhagavad Gita, was Manu. Manu Ikshvakave Bravit. And the son of Manu was Ikshvaku. Manu had 10 sons headed by Ikshvaku. But he had them later in life. Early in his life, Manu was the Vaivasvata Manu. He was childless, he had no children. So his wife, Shraddha Devi, they were trying to conceive a child, but they could not have a child. So he went to his Gurudev, Vashishta Rishi, and he asked Vashishta Rishi, please, can you do a yagya that I can have a son? So the yagya to have a son is a yagya to Mitra and Varuna. And by this you can have a son. Do you know Mitra and Varuna? Mitra and Varuna. They are the predominating deities of the male genital. Mitra and Varuna too. So, Mitra and because all the functions of the body are actually performed by devatas, and without them you cannot do anything. You see? So to conceive a child, he requested his guru Vashishta Rishi to do the puja of Mitra and Varuna. So Vashishta Rishi came and with his other Brahmin priests, and they were preparing to do a yagya. So just as they were about to do the yagya, Shraddha Devi, the wife of Vaivasvata Manu, went up to the priest who was making the oblations and said in his ear, I want a daughter. And then, when he was doing he chanted all the mantras to have a son. But his sankalpa was disturbed. Because when you do a yagya, you have to do it with a sankalpa, a determination, an objective. So even though he did all the rituals and the mantras perfectly, his mind was confused about the sankalpa. So that raises very interesting philosophical issues if you have studied the Vedic exegesis. Is the power in the mantra of the Vedas? That is called Varnavard. Or is it in the intention? And the order of the syllables and everything, and pronunciation not so important. This is Spotvard. So those who study the deeply Vedanta and everything, this is an interesting topic. So, we see from Srimad Bhagavatam that he did all the mantras correctly, but his sankalpa was confused, and Shraddha Devi gave birth to a girl.
oder? Und
Then Vaivasvatamani was
und war eine
confused.
ein
He thought, what is this?
Mädchen. Was ist das?
How is it that the Vedic mantras, they have no potency and they have not produced the right result?
Dass sie nicht mehr das richtige Resultat geben.
So he went to his Gurudev Vashishta and said, Gurudev, why has the opposite result come from this yagya? So then Vashishta went into trance. And in his trance, then he came out. He said, oh, your wife came and spoke in the ear of my priest and confused his sankalpa, so the opposite result came. So then Vashishta was very merciful to his disciple Manu, and he did very hard tapasya to worship Supreme Lord Narayan. And he received a blessing that the daughter who was born, her name was Ila. And by the strength of his tapasya, Ila became a boy. He became a boy. And they gave the name Sudyumna. So, like this. Actually, he became a boy. So this was not the end of Sudyumna's gender problems. Because one day, Sudyumna was with his friends, his male friends, and they went hunting in the forest. And they're riding on their horses. And they came through the forest. And then suddenly they looked at each other and they'd all turned into women. Wow! And then they looked at each other's horses. They had male horses, and the horses had become female horses as well. They said, what happened? So then, they'd all become female. So, during that time, now Sudyumna became Ila again. So when Ila was in the forest, she met the Buddha, the son of Soma, the moon god, and Mercury. And the Buddha became very attracted to Ila, and they had a relationship and conceived a child that was Pururava. But then after some time, Ila was yearning for her form as Sudyumna, her male form again. So she went back home. And she went to Vashishta Rishi. Vashishta Rishi, you again? she was already a girl. He did hard tapasya and made her a male. And now she came back as a female. What happened? So again Vashishta went into trance. And then he realized that this forest that they were in was a forest at the foot of Mount Meru. And Lord Shiva used to reside there with his wife Parvati. And one day Parvati was relaxing with her head in the lap of Shiva. And her cloth came open. They were enjoying alone. And her cloth came open, part of her body was exposed. And some rishis were walking there, they were coming to give honor to Lord Shiva. And as they approached, then Parvati saw them. And she became distressed that some males had seen her in an improper way. And she quickly sat up and tidied her dress. Like this. And she was so upset. So then Lord Shiva, to pacify his wife, said, don't worry, this will never happen again. By my Yog Siddhi, I will make a circumference around this forest that any male person who will enter will become female. And you'll never be embarrassed again. So unknowingly, Sudyumna and his friends, they were galloping on their horses and they came over the circumference of the mystic power of Lord Shiva. And this is how they'd become female. So then Vashishta Rishi understood this by his mystic power. And then we have to go and see Lord Shiva. So Vashishta Rishi went to Lord Shiva and worshipped him, and Lord Shiva was pleased. And he said, please reverse your curse. So Lord Shiva said, no, my words cannot be reversed. But I am satisfied with your worship. So we'll make a compromise. So now she's Ila.
Jetzt ist sie Ela.
Ila can be Ila for 6 months of the year and can be Sudyumna for 6 months of the year,
6 Monate
alternatively. So then Ila waited in the forest
Ela hat im Wald
for the
gewartet
6 months to be over and then became Sudyumna and came back to the kingdom
und ist zurück zum Königreich gekommen
and became the king.
und wurde der König.
And so Sudyumna ruled the kingdom
Und Sudyumna
and
hat
he
das
used to
Königreich
rule for 6 months.
6 Monate.
And then he would go into hide. When he was female, he would go into hiding.
Dann hat sich wieder versteckt.
And then 6 months later, he would appear again.
Und nach 6 Monaten ist sie wieder
And he was a
verschwunden.
good king,
War ein guter
and he ruled the
König.
kingdom in a very good way. But his citizens were not fully satisfied because they were always wondering, where does our king go every 6 months?
Der König ging ihm hin für 6 Monate.
So after some time, when he became older,
Da war er älter wurde.
he retired to the forest and made his son Purava. Pururava.
Sohn.
He was actually the mother of Pururava. And Pururava became the next king. So then you know the history of Pururava and Urvashi. You know, it is there also in Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we see from the example of Sudyumna that this Abhiman in regard to your gender, this is nothing.
Das ist überhaupt nichts.
This is external.
Das
Has nothing to
hat
do with
nichts
Atma.
mit einem bestimmten Geschlecht. Das hat nichts.
So another example has been given in Shastra.
Ein anderes Beispiel wurde gegeben in den Shastra.
You know that Satyavati, the mother of Vichitravirya,
Satyavati, die Frau,
and
die Mutter von Vichitravirya.
she wanted to have a suitable queen for her son Vichitravirya,
Sie wollte eine
who would be the king of Hastinapur. So Vichitravirya was not so strong.
Vichitravirya war sehr schwach.
So Bhishma Dev, he set off
Ist
to
gegangen,
win
einen
the hand of a
Turnier,
princess.
die Hand einer
for his
Prinzessin
brother.
zu gewinnen, für seinen Bruder.
So he went to Kashi,
Und ist zu Kashi
and there
gegangen.
the king of Kashi had
Und
3
der König
daughters,
hat drei
Amba,
wunderschöne
Ambika and
Töchter,
Ambalika.
drei wunderschöne
And it was their Swayambar ceremony where many princes would come, and in combat with each other,
Und sie haben einen Kampf
whoever
gemacht.
would win would take the hand of the princess.
Kann die Hand
So
der
Bhishma
Prinzessin
is so powerful.
Bhishma ist so kraftvoll.
He defeated all the princes,
Er hat alle Prinzen besiegt.
and he won Amba, Ambika and
Er hat die
Ambalika.
drei Prinzessinnen
And he was
gewonnen.
bringing them back to Hastinapur,
Und hat sie nach
that the
Hastinapur
3 of them,
gebracht,
they would become the wives of
die drei,
Vichitravirya.
die Frauen von
But what
Vichitravirya.
happened?
Aber was ist geschehen?
When they arrived there,
Als sie angekommen
Amba
sind,
was crying,
hat Amba geweint.
and she said
Sie
to
hat gesagt,
Bhishma Dev, actually, though I am unmarried,
obwohl ich unverheiratet
I
bin,
started a relationship
hatte ich eine
with King
Beziehung
Shalva,
mit Shalva, mit
Ja.
einem König angefangen.
and I've already given my heart fully to him, and I've promised that I will be his queen.
Und ich habe versprochen, dass ich seine Königin sein werde.
So I cannot be married to Vichitravirya.
Ich kann jetzt Vichitravirya nicht heiraten.
So then Bhishma Dev, he felt very sorry for her.
Hat sich entschuldigt bei ihr, hat sich,
So he arranged a very beautiful chariot
hat einen schönen Wagen
and soldiers and musicians,
und Musiker
and
und
with
Soldaten.
great respect and pomp and circumstance, he sent her.
Hat
He
er
said, yes,
sie
go home and you marry your sweetheart.
zurückgeschickt.
Shalva.
Kannst den heiraten, den du dein Herz geschenkt hast.
So this shows in Vedic society, marriage was not forced on women.
Es ist nicht
The marriages were arranged, but that did not mean that they did not have a say also in it.
Frauen wurden nicht
It had to
gezwungen.
should be compatible, and they should also agree.
Und sie müssen einwilligen.
So Krishna said to the gopis in Rasalila,
Sagte den Gopis im Raslila,
when he told them, he was joking and saying, go home.
geht nach Hause.
Pratiyata brajam neha steham stribu. So it means Pratiyata brajam, go back to Braj. Neha, neha steham, don't stay here.
Bleib nicht hier.
But his words also mean Pratiyata brajam na, don't go back to Braj.
Geht nicht zurück.
Iha steham, stay here.
Bleib hier. In Doppelbedeutung.
So he also said to the gopis, and in another tricky way, Krishna told the gopis, oh, it is the dharma
Es ist das Dharma
of a woman
von einer Frau,
to serve her husband without duplicity.
ihrem Mann zu dienen ohne Zwang.
To serve the husband without duplicity. So it seems like he's telling them, go home and serve your husband.
Geh nach Hause und dient eurem Mann.
But no, because the gopis have given their heart to Krishna, so if they'll go home and serve their husband, they'll be serving with duplicity because the heart is already given to Krishna.
Herr, ist er schon mit Krishna.
So when he said the highest is to serve
Höchste
the
ist
husband without duplicity, means, oh, stay here and serve me because you already gave your heart to me. But they took it in another way. You see? So, Bhishmadev arranged with great respect to send an Amba back to Kashi, where she could be married to the man to whom she'd given her heart. But when she came back, oh Shalva, I've come back, let's be married. Then Shalva, out of ego, he could not accept her. Why? Because a Khatri has to win his bride in combat, and he'd been defeated fairly and squarely by Bhishma, so it would be a matter of great embarrassment for him to accept a queen who's been taken by a prince who defeated him. He said, so I cannot, the pride, my dignity as a Khatri cannot accept it. So she was completely distraught and disappointed. So she came back to the Hastinapur. Oh, then I should be married to Vichitravirya then. But Vichitravirya had already heard that she'd given her heart to Shalva. I'm not going to accept any woman who's already given her heart to someone else. So then Amba thought, I cannot marry my beloved, I cannot marry Vichitravirya whom I've been won to marry him. Okay, Bhishma, you have to accept me. Bhishma, you have to marry me. But Bhishma, why is he called Bhishma? Bhishma means terrible. Because he's Deva Brata. He made a terrible vow. When he made this vow, all the demigods showered flowers. What was that terrible vow? I will be a brahmachari for life. Yeah? Everyone thinks I'll be a brahmachari for life. But the flowers don't fall from it.
They're already crying.
So, but Bhishma, when he made this vow, the flowers fell from the sky. Why? He's Deva Brata. He made astonishing vow, terrible vow. All the demigods said, Bhishma, how terrible. So he's called Bhishma. So he said, look, I cannot marry you because I have my vow. Then Amba thought, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So she went into the forest and she was crying. And there she met a sage called Otravahan. So Otravahan was actually her maternal grandfather. He used to be a king, but he'd retired and gone to the forest and become a great sage. So Otravahan told her, you should go to Bhishma's guru with your grievance, you know. If someone is senior to you and you feel that they've done something wrong, it's not your position to correct them. You go and tell their Gurujan and let them do it. Don't try to give instructions to your peers even, what to speak of your superiors. This is not Maryada. So, Amba went to Parishuram, the guru of Bhishmadev, and told what terrible injustice had befallen upon her, and persuaded the Parishuram to come and stand up for her rights, that she should have justice. So Parishuram came to Bhishmadev and said, you should marry this woman, Amba. And Bhishmadev said, no. I have made a vow, I'll not be married. He said to his guru, no, I will not do it. So then his guru said, oh, you will disobey me? Then prepare to fight. Parishuram, you know, he killed all the generations of Kshatriyas 22 times. So now one Kshatriya is not going to be difficult for him, it seems. So Parishuram is very powerful, and he took his weapons, prepared to fight. So now will Bhishma fight with his guru? Bhishmadev stood up and said, Guru apyavaliptasya karya ajanata utpana pratipannasya purityago vidiyate. You know this verse? Guru apyavaliptasya. If a guru becomes attached Karya karya ajanata. And he does not know what is to be done, what is right and what is wrong.
Was richtig ist und was falsch.
Utpana pratipannasya. He's telling you to go against dharma.
Und sagt dir,
Prityago vidyate. Give up that guru.
da musst du den
Jiva Goswami has quoted this. This is from verse from Mahabharata.
Das ist ein Vers aus dem
But it's an
Mahabharata.
important verse.
Aber es ist ein wichtiger Vers.
One should not follow a foolish, idiotic guru who doesn't know the difference between right and wrong and tells you to do the things which are against the dharma and especially against bhakti dharma.
Speziell was gegen
Prityago, he should be given up.
So ein Guru muss aufgeben.
Prityago vidyate. So, saying this boldly, Bhishma Dev, he also took up his weapons. And Bhishma and Parashuram began to fight. And they fought ferociously for 24 days. And finally Parashuram admitted, actually he cannot be defeated. Bhishma Dev cannot be defeated. So then Amba, again she was helpless. She was hopeless. No one will help me. Who will help me? So then she went into the forest and she did tapasya. And she worshipped Kartikeya, Subramanyam. He is the god of war. Ganesh's brother, the god of war. So she's really serious. Because now she was thinking, I just want that Bhishma should be killed. I just want to kill him. But I'm a woman, I can't kill him. So she worshipped Kartikeya, the god of war. And after a long time, Kartikeya was pleased. And he manifested. And he presented to her a very beautiful celestial blue garland of blue lotuses. And he said, whoever will wear this garland will be the cause of Bhishma's death. So then she thought, okay, now I'll go back to I'll go to the king Drupad. And there are many warriors in his kingdom. And she came there and told King Drupad and all the warriors there, I have been wronged. Bhishma has treated me unjustly and he has ruined my life. And I have a garland here from Kartikeya. And who will stand up and defend my honor and fight with Bhishma? If you will take this garland, you can defeat Bhishma. And all the warriors in Drupad, they are all like, no way. I don't have any belief in any garland. Magic garlands, forget it. No one wanted to fight with Bhishma. So she was so upset. Is there not one man here? Is there not one hero among you? They all looked down. And with a broken heart she left the palace. And as she was going out of the garden of the palace, she threw the garland over the post, the gate post. She threw the garland over the gate post. And then she went into the forest. And again she did tapasya. And this time she did tapasya to Lord Shiva. And she prayed to Lord Shiva, oh my Lord, please fulfill my desire. So Lord Shiva appeared to her and said, I give you the benediction that, give me this breath, that in your next life you will be the cause of the death of Bhishma Dev. And then she became so ecstatic. She couldn't wait, so she immediately lit a fire and jumped into it. She immediately lit the fire and jumped into it, so she couldn't wait for the next life to come. So Lord Shiva was very tricky. At the same time, while she was worshipping Lord Shiva, at that time King Drupad, he didn't have a son. And he was worshipping Lord Shiva to have a son. And when Lord Shiva was pleased, Lord Shiva appeared to Drupad and said, I will fulfill your desire. It is not in your destiny to have a son, but still I will fulfill your desire. I will bless you to have a daughter who after a little time will become a son. And so you'll have a son. So then Drupadi thought, this is better than nothing. And he was very grateful. So Lord Shiva gave this benediction to Drupad and this benediction to Amba at the same time. And so when she jumped in the fire, then the wife of Drupad became pregnant, and Amba went in the womb
Amba
and then was born
wurde geboren
as the daughter
als die Tochter.
of Drupad. But because Drupad knew that after some time his daughter would become a son, he dressed his daughter as a boy and kept his identity, because a little boy, little girl, no one can tell the difference. You dress like a boy, they raise them like a boy, they behave like a boy. So he had a son, and he called the son Shikhandi. Shikhandi. Actually it was Shikhandi.
Es war Shikhandi für eine Mädchen eigentlich.
But this girl, he dressed as a little boy
Er wurde einfach nur angezogen.
and raised as a little boy.
Aufgezogen wie ein Knabe.
Even he went to Gurukul
Und ist
with the boys
gegangen.
and was trained in the martial arts as a boy.
Kampfkunst gelernt. als
But
Knabe.
gradually the years were going by,
Und die Jahre sind vergangen.
and Drupad was thinking it's getting more and more difficult,
Mit dem es schwierig ist, dass
because now adolescence is coming,
jetzt kommt die Pubertät.
and his son's body was starting to change, and it was becoming more and more difficult to hide them. He was thinking when, and still, but anyway, he managed to hide the gender of his son. And then the age came where he had to arrange the marriage. So he arranged the marriage with a very beautiful princess, the son of a king called Hiranyavarma. So the marriage took place, and the princess, the daughter of Hiranyavarma, came to the kingdom of Drupad. And when she was very close with a new husband, she had a shock. My husband is a woman. What kind of sick joke is... And she sent a messenger to King Hiranyavarma. When King Hiranyavarma heard this, he thought, right, that's it. Whoa! And he set out with all of his armies. I'm going to destroy Drupad and his entire dynasty and take over their kingdom. What an insult he has done. So all the armies of Kritavarma, they surrounded the city of Drupad, of Hiranyavarma. They surrounded the city of Drupad. So at that time, Shikhandi. Actually, though she was a girl, one day she was walking in the garden and she saw a beautiful garland of blue lotus flowers hanging on the gate. And so, how would I look in that? You know, the girls don't like to dress up. So she took it. And when she put it on, as soon as it touched her body, she began, her sanskars from her previous life awakened. And she began to remember her enmity for Bhishma Dev. And the feeling, I want to kill Bhishma Dev, was raised in her heart. So it's very interesting, you know. In your life, you can live for so long, and you don't have any particular desire. But you have a sanskar from a previous life, and it only takes a particular circumstance, and it comes out. So, in this case, we see that the enmity from her previous life was raised in this life. So my Gurudev used to say, never quarrel with anyone. Never have enmity to anyone. Know that when you feel any enmity towards another person, that this is your karma from a previous life coming up. And therefore, when you have enmity to someone, you're actually becoming involved in the reactions of your past life karma. And therefore Mahaprabhu said, Amanena manadena. Just give respect to everyone. If you don't respect everyone, then this ill feeling that you feel towards anything is not new. It's your prarabdha karma from the past life coming up. Do you understand that? Does everyone understand that? Okay, now understand this. The opposite is also true. In your life, when you meet someone and you really like them, and you become attached to them, that's also your prarabdha karma coming up as well. It cuts both ways. Rag and dvesh, yes. So, at this point, when the city of Drupad was surrounded by so many armies, all listen very carefully, I only tell Rasakatha. Don't think Prem Prayojan became mad and he's telling Mahabharata. Listen, listen
Hört genau
carefully,
zu.
with full attention.
Mit voller Aufmerksamkeit.
So then, when the armies were surrounding the city,
Armee
and
zusammen-
King Hiranyavarma had vowed to destroy the dynasty of Drupad,
Die Dynastie
now
von
this
Drupad,
little girl,
dann ist das
who
kleine
had been
Mädchen,
forced to pretend to be a boy her whole life,
das nicht ein Leben
she
hat.
just started to cry. She thought, oh, now my family will be killed and the city, everything will be ruined, and it's all because of me. She became hysterical and started crying.
Hat geweint.
Hysterical.
Hysterisch.
The word hysteria
Hysteria.
is Greek. It
Is
means
Griechisch.
who has a womb. You know, if you remove the womb, it's called hysterectomy. So who has a womb is. So the word who has a womb and hysterical are the same, come from the same root in Greek.
Das ist die gleiche
Ja.
Wurzel.
So it's female nature. If they're under extreme pressure, they become hysterical. So this is the etymology of the word hysterical. So she became hysterical and she was crying, and she just ran out of the palace. And she ran into the forest and she was crying because she thought the best thing I can do is just run away. So she was in the forest and she sat down in a lonely place and cried. So there was one yaksha who lived in the forest, a very powerful being, higher being. And the yaksha's name was Stunakarna. So Stunakarna saw this beautiful princess crying in the forest and said, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Don't cry. I can solve your problem. You can? Yeah, sure. Really? So then she explained to that yaksha, Stunakarna, what the problem was. So then Stunakarna's heart melted. He said, all right, I'll help you. I have mystic powers. And by my mystic powers, I can give you my male anatomy. And you give me your female anatomy. Right? And then you go back, you prove to everyone that you're a boy. And then when you've solved the problem, you come back to me and you give me back my male anatomy, I'll give you your female. So then, the yaksha by his mystic power transformed the body of Shikhandi. And now, yakshas, they're even not like ordinary men. You know, they're really powerful. So now she was like a human, but with the virility of a yaksha. Very powerful. And she ran back to the palace and said to her father, don't panic, it's okay. I can solve everything. I'm a boy. And so then King Drupad sent a messenger to Hiranyavarma. He said, well, there's been some misunderstanding. There's just been a misunderstanding. It's all a big misunderstanding. Your daughter's not married a girl. He said, my son. So then Hiranyavarma, he was curious. So he said, okay. And he called in his palace. He had 50 virgins. Very beautiful. And he said, all right, your son should spend the night with these maidservants. And in the morning they'll tell me whether or not he's a boy or a girl. So he sent these beautiful maidservants and they spent the night with Shikhandi. In the morning they came back to King Hiranyavarma and he said, yes, he's definitely a boy. All were very satisfied. So then the war was averted. The war, and Hiranyavarma and all his army, they went back to their kingdom. So then, the catastrophe was averted, and Shikhandi went back to the forest to thank the yaksha for his kindness and return the male anatomy to the yaksha. So when the Shikhandi arrived there, then that yaksha, Stunakarna, he was completely depressed. Shikhandi said, what's wrong? He said, well, you know, after you went away, I thought I should not be seen in public. So I locked the door of my cottage and I was hiding because I thought, you know, you'll come back the next day and no one will know. But my Gurudev came to visit me.
Aber mein Bruder hat mich besucht.
His Gurudev is Kuver, you know, Kuver is the king of all the yakshas.
Er ist der
So he was calling, Stunakarna, knocking on the door.
hat an die Tür geklopft
And I was ashamed to answer.
und ich war
But then I
scham
thought,
zu
oh, I
öffnen.
cannot make offense and
Aber ich kann keinen vergeben
just pretend that I'm not here.
und nur vorgeben, nicht hier
So
zu
then I
sein.
opened the door,
Habe ich die Tür geöffnet.
and then my Gurudev saw that I had relinquished my gender.
dass ich das Geschlecht
And Gurudev became angry.
Und er wurde
You have
so
brought shame on the dynasty of Yakshas.
Du hast eine Scham auf die Dynastie der
So I
Yakshas
curse you
gelegt,
that your gender will not be returned to you
dass dein Geschlecht dir
until
zurückgegeben werden kann,
Shikhandi passes away.
bis Shikhandi
Only when
stirbt.
Shikhandi passes away,
Nur wenn
then you
Shikhandi
can,
stirbt,
your gender will be returned to you.
dann kann es dir wieder zurückgegeben werden.
So then, now Shikhandi was actually Shikhandi
Jetzt ist er Shikhandi.
and could not avoid being Shikhandi.
Jetzt muss er ein Mann bleiben.
And he was absorbed in the
Er war absorbiert.
enmity towards Bhishma Dev.
Hass gegen Bhishma.
So when the battle of Kurukshetra came,
Schlacht von Kurukshetra
after many
gekommen,
days,
nach 4
Bhishma
Tagen,
Dev was unstoppable.
Bhishma Dev konnte man nicht
And
stoppen.
Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with his
Und
brothers in the
Yudhishthira mit
evening
seinen
time,
Brüdern am Abend
came to the camp of Bhishma Dev because they used to visit each other's camps in the evening when the battle was not going on. And can you just put some spray in my face while I'm speaking? And Yudhishthira Maharaj came there and said, "Oh, Pitamaha Bhishma Dev, you gave me a benediction that I would be victorious in this battle, but we cannot defeat you. So please, your words will be proven wrong unless you tell us how we can defeat you." So then Bhishma Dev said, "You know, it is my dharma that I would never take up weapons against a woman." So Shikhandi was born a woman. No one knew this, it was a secret, but Bhishma Dev knew. Says Shikhandi was born a woman. And he knew that Shikhandi was Amba from the previous life, who had done austerities to kill him. So he said, Arjuna should come and use Shikhandi as a shield. And when Shikhandi comes to fight me, I'll drop my weapons. And then Arjuna should shower me with arrows from all sides. I will be defenseless. So Bhishma Dev, to keep his word, his blessing to Yudhishthira Maharaj that he would be victorious, he told them the secret how he could be killed by using Shikhandi. And in this way Bhishma Dev was showered with thousands of arrows of Arjuna, but still he did not die, but he was lying on the bed of arrows. And the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning of Bhagavatam, it begins with this, the beautiful history of Bhishma Dev's leaving this world completely absorbed in love of Krishna. Even he glorified the gopis in those last moments of his life. So, why am I telling this? You know, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, he discovered one book, Krishna Karnamrita, by Sri Bilvamangal Thakur. This Shastra is extraordinary Shastra, full of rasa. But unless a person will take shelter of Rupa Goswami, he will not be able to understand the deep meaning behind the verses of Krishna Karnamrita. Verses of Krishna Karnamrita, some of them are spoken in separation. But when separation becomes deep, then spurti comes. And when spurti becomes deeper, then the devotee goes into a state of confusion where he cannot understand whether it's actually meeting or separation. Even. And when it becomes deeper, it becomes indistinguishable from direct meeting with Krishna. So some of the verses of Krishna Karnamrita are in the state of separation, in the state of indistinguishable meeting and separation, and in the state of Sakshat Darshan in separation, which is indistinguishable from meeting. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, upon reading the poetry of Bilvamangal Thakur, could see that his own teaching about Vipralamba, the stages of Vipralamba Bhajan, were expressed here. And also by hints, the glimpses of the most confidential Kunja Lila of Radha and Krishna had been given there in Krishna Karnamrita. So in one verse of Krishna Karnamrita, Srila Bilvamangal Thakur, he's saying, Oh, when will that day come?
Wann wird der Tag kommen,
When Sri Krishna
wenn Krishna
is doing Kapat Nidra.
kapat niedrig?
Do you know Kapat Nidra Lila? It means the Lila of pretending to be asleep.
Liegt vor, zu schlafen.
After Krishna has enjoyed loving pastimes with Radhika, then sometimes he'll just take his pitambar
nimmt einfach sein
and throw it over his face like this and lie down
Tuch und legt sich
and
einfach
pretend to be asleep.
und gibt vor zu schlafen.
And then he knows that after some time Radhika's Sakis will come.
Einige Zeit kommen die
And they'll
Sakis.
have very beautiful kata talking to each other.
Sie sprechen wunderschön
But
miteinander.
if they think he's asleep, they'll say things that they would not say to his face when he's awake.
Sagen sie bestimmte Dinge, die sie nicht sagen
So
würden, wenn
sometimes
wach
Krishna
ist.
pretends to be asleep, so he can overhear the very beautiful
Offen
kata
das Kapital
between Radhika and her Sakis.
und ihren Dienerinnen.
So Bilva Mangal Thakur is saying,
Und Thakur sagt,
oh, when will that day come?
wann wird der Tag kommen,
When Krishna is pretending to be
wenn
asleep.
Krishna sich nun vor
And
sich
hearing the very beautiful rasic discussions of Radhika and her Sakis,
zwischen Radharani und ihren
he will
Freunden,
feel a wave of harsha,
dann wird eine Freude,
of
eine
jubilation,
Jubilation,
the prem rising in his heart,
Prem in seinem Herzen
which will cause an anubhav
und das macht eine
in the form of an
Reaktion
irrepressible smile
von
to spread across his face.
ununterbrochenem Lächeln auf Krishna.
Priceless.
Bilva Mangal Thakur saying, very beautiful, huh?
Wunderschön.
Extremely beautiful. But only those in the line of Rupa
Nur
Goswami
diejenigen in der Linie
can
von Rupa Goswami
pick up the clue from this verse
können
by
das
meditating
aufnehmen.
on one verse, one
Indem sie
pastime in
ein
one place.
Spiel
That
an
is
einem
Mantramayu
Ort.
Upasana.
Das ist
They
Mantra
become
Maya
absorbed.
Upasana.
And then Mantra Vistarini, it opens.
Und dann öffnet sich's.
Opens. So our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami,
Das Kaviraj Goswami,
one of the prominent Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas, he's explained the meaning of this verse,
die Bedeutung von diesem Vers,
following the mood of Rupa Goswami, Rupa
und
Manjari.
folgenden Stimmung von
In his commentary, Saranga Ranga Datika, he said, it means
sagt, es bedeutet,
that when will that day come?
wann wird der Tag kommen,
When? After dancing together,
nachdem man zusammen tanzt,
drinking honey wine
und
together,
Honigwein,
Radha and Krishna become overwhelmed with the desire to be alone,
überwältigt mit dem Wunsch, allein
and
zu
they
sein.
enter into a beautiful
Und
kunj.
sie gehen in ein
And at that
wunderbares
time, the Sakis, Lalita, Vishaka and others, they'll retreat to a distance, and I'll go along with them.
Und ich gehe mit ihnen.
Bilvamangal Thakur is writing Krishna Kanamrita from the perspective of Radha's Nayadika Saki, actually.
Perspektive
Krishna's Kaviraj has
von
revealed.
einer
But on this particular occasion, for some reason, he'll go to some distance with those Sakis.
Aber jetzt gehen sie
After some time,
nach einiger Zeit,
when the sound of ankle bells and waist bells all the waist bells and ankle bells have gone to sleep,
alle Fußglöckchen sind zu schlafen
then
gegangen.
along with the Sakis,
Alle
I will return to the kunj.
werde ich zum Wäldchen
And when
zurückgehen.
Krishna hears the ankle bells of the Sakis approaching,
Das-
then
das
he pretends to be sleeping
wieder zu schlafen.
because he wants to hear what they'll say.
Möchte hören, was sie sagen.
So Krishna is lying
Krishna schläft
and pretending to be asleep.
und gibt vor zu schlafen.
And the Sakis walk in,
Und die Sakis
and
schlafen
one of the
ein.
senior ones says, "Oh, my Saki Radhika,
Oh, meine Sakira,
here you are.
hier bist du.
You hidden from us. We could not find you.
Wir konnten dich nicht finden.
I suppose you came here to pick punaga flowers."
Ich habe gedacht, du seid hier bestimmte Punaga.
So punaga means a type of flower,
Punaga ist
and punaga means
Punaga
the
heißt
best of men.
der beste
Krishna is
Mann.
punaga, the
Krishna
best of
ist
men.
Punaga, der beste aller Männer.
So she made this joke.
Sie hat das
Oh,
Witz
why
gemacht.
did you come here? You must have come to pick punaga.
Oh, du bist doch hier diese Blumen.
So when Krishna heard this,
Krishna das
he
hört,
felt some joy,
hat er Freude,
but he could hold it inside.
aber er konnte es innerlich unterdrücken, die Freude.
And he still was pretending to be
Und
asleep.
ich will nach vor zu schlafen.
So then another Saki said, "Oh
Sagt
Radhika,
eine andere Sache, oh Radharani,
you know, we knew where to find you
wir wussten, wo wir
because
dich
we
finden.
were walking in the forest
Wir laufen im Wald
and we saw your gurus. We saw your gurus walking there.
wir haben deine Gurus hier laufen sehen.
Who?
Wer?
Sudyumna and Shikhandi.
Sudyumna und Shikhandi.
Oh my god.
So they told us
Sie haben uns gesagt,
that after learning all their arts,
nachdem wir alle ihre Künste gelernt
you
haben,
have become perfect in their arts now,
jetzt
and
sind
they
sie
were just
perfekt
leaving.
Und sie sind gegangen.
So then Krishna, he heard this, and he was feeling great joy.
So große Freude.
But he held it inside.
Unterdrückt innen.
Then Radharani said, "What are you
Dann
saying?"
hat er gesagt, was sagst du?
Yes,
Ja.
and Sudyumna and Shikhandi came here,
Sudyumna und Shikhandi
and they
sind
told us
hergekommen.
that
Sie
you
haben
were
uns
their
gesagt,
best pupils.
Du warst ihre beste Schülerin.
You were their best students. And after teaching you all their arts,
Und sie haben
and
alle
also
Künste
doing
gemacht.
pariksha, testing the skills
Sie
also,
haben dich sogar getestet.
then they were satisfied, and your education is complete.
Es ist eine
And they
Ausbildung
And they
fertig.
told us
Und sie haben
that
uns
you had
gesagt,
said, "Oh, now we have graduated from your school
jetzt sind
in
wir-
the arts of Sudyumna and Shikhandi.
jetzt sind wir auch in diesen Künsten von
Now
Sudyumna.
you should go and teach these arts to my friend Radhika."
Jetzt kannst du das meine Freundin
And so
sagen.
it's you who sent them there. But when they came here, I said, "Oh, go away from here.
Geht weg
I
von
don't want to be contaminated by your association."
mit einer Gemeinschaft.
When Krishna heard this, then a big wave of Sanchibhava Bhasha came, and he could not contain it.
konnte es nicht mehr
And a
zurückhalten.
beautiful smile spread that he could not repress spread across his face.
Und alles lächelt dann Krishna.
You understand something? No? Rupa Goswami in Utkalika Vallari, he has written a beautiful verse. He said, "Oh, when will Radharani
Wann wird Radharani
give me an order
mir eine
to
Unterweisung geben?
untie Krishna's top knot,
Krishnas
his chuda?
diesen
Krishna's hair is tied up in a top knot, like this, and decorated with some flowers. Oh, when will Radhika say,
Wann wird
Oh,
Radharani-
Rupa Manjari,
Oh, Rupa Manjari.
untie his top knot and make a veni.
Und mach einen Zopf.
And then I will untie the top knot of Krishna
Und ich werde
and
Krishnas
remove the flowers and then
Blumen wegnehmen.
make his hair into a braid
Und ich mach wie einen Zopf.
and decorate it the end with the lotus flower.
Und am Schluss mit einer Lotusblume dekorieren.
What does it mean?
Wie-
It means when Radha Krishna, they become so overwhelmed with love for each other. Radhika becomes so absorbed in Krishna,
Radharani wird so
she
absorbiert in
feels,
Krishna.
oh, I am Krishna.
Ich bin Krishna.
And Krishna becomes so absorbed in
So
Radhika.
absorbiert in Radharani.
She wants to experience what it's like to be Radhika.
Sie möchte erfahren, wie es ist,
And
eine
so
Frau zu
Radhika orders
sein.
Rupa Manjari to
Äh,
take away his male hairstyle
Rupa
and
Manjari.
turn him into a woman with a braid and tie up Radhika's hair into a top knot and keep a peacock feather.
Und mit Pfauenfedern.
And then they will unite,
Und dann haben
playing each other's role.
und sie
That is called
wechseln
Viparita Rati.
Viparita.
So, the Sakis of Radhika,
Die-
they know the history of Sudyumna, they know the history of Shikhandi.
von Shikhandi.
So when they came there to the Kunj, they said,
Als
oh,
sie zum Kunja kamen,
we saw your gurus, Shikhandi and Sudyumna, walking in the forest here. And in this way they have a very beautiful Rasakata with Radha and Krishna.
Radhe Shyam.
So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has said,
Raghunath Das gesagt.
Na dharmam na dhamam shrutigana niruktam kilakaru brajay radha Krishna prachurya parichardyam here. This is Brajay Radha Krishna prachurya paricharya. This is an example
Das ist ein
of the
Beispiel.
personal services to the divine couple.
Persönlichen Dienst zum göttlichen Paar.
Decorating Krishna
Und
like
dekoriert
Radhika.
Krishna wie
Or
Radharani.
decorating Radhika like
Und
Krishna
Radharani wie Krishna.
as the preface to their beautiful pastimes of Viparita Rati. This is Paricharya Seva.
Das ist
An example and
ein Beispiel
from Utkalika Vallari.
dafür.
Srila Rupa Goswami Pada ki
Jai.
Jai. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pada ki Jai. Sri Manah-siksa ki Jai. Sudyumna Shikhandi ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Shakradeva ki
Jai.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Girdhari Shri Radhavinodrari Ki Jai Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Padashtora Satsi Samad Rupanugatari Vaishla Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Padashtora Satsi Samad Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Padashtora Satsi Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Padashtora Satsi Samad Aisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Padashtora Satsi Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavata Gopkishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Nod Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Gauri Guru Vaga Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Prem Sako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Brajamandal Ketramando Gauda Mandal Ki Jai Tuguvna Manga Kari Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Sri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Madhishwari Raseshwari Vrishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radhika Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Om Vrindaye Tulasi Devaya Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Padidevi Sattvatyam Namo Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhayeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo
Jai.
Gurudev.
Jai.
Sleep now. So now it is quite late. Excuse me. Now we have a video, only darkness.
But see the shadows of the deities is so beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful.
So beautiful.
And the Udipana also.
Yes.
As the kirtan began, though you cannot see because you are facing this way, but those who could see, the dark, there again, right on cue. The lightning was flashing in the sky, like the golden, the trembling form of Radhika upon the dark cloud of the chest of Sri Krishna. Very beautiful. They began to dance as we did. The holy name was reverberating. All the Samuchchai Alankar. So now it's like all devotees take rest. Tomorrow morning, Mangalatik will be at a very merciful time, Gogadada, very merciful 7 o'clock in the temple room, and our morning prayers will be there. Devotees can chant japa at 9 o'clock, Mahaprashadam, and about 10:30 we'll begin our morning class. We will continue to verse 3 of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's Manah-siksa, and in this way.
You did not finish the first one, so that I'm bombing.
No, I finished the first, and the second one was practically finished also today. I'll touch on one more point from the second verse, and we'll go to the third verse tomorrow morning.
But you didn't speak on Sadadam Dhamitva.
I spoke about that first before I began Guru Goste Gostalaisu. If you, yeah.
But very short.
Did I?
Yeah.
Very short maybe.
So, one little point?
Tomorrow. No, now only tasting.
Yeah.
No need for questions.
Punaga.
Hare Krishna.